Hi, my name is Bailey Dillon Davies, and I want to start the final assessment for this class, which to think about is kind of crazy. To think that this semester's over, that we've all come so far from our very first speech, which was our impromptu speech. I mean, I remember talking about my grandmother and her ring, the symbolism of my family, and I remember talking about it, and I was fidgeting, and I was putting the ring, and I sent out many nonverbal cues of how nervous I was. And now I look at myself now, and I'm a little bit more confident, more comfortable speaking, more prepared, and I never really expected to grow so much. Seeing that growth, I wasn't really expecting that. I just figured, yeah, I would talk a little better in front of people, but not the growth that I experienced. And I think that's amazing. So for the first question, have my skills changed over the semester? And of course they have. My skills have definitely changed. I feel that I've gained more confidence, being more comfortable with speaking, and learn the necessity of organization from the outlines. They were definitely a lifesaver when it came up to times where I was like, oh no, let's try to figure out what I need to say next and make sure that my structure is still good and still flowing correctly. I feel that being able to grow in that sense, being more comfortable, has overall allowed me to gain so much from this experience. Being comfortable has allowed me to deaden my nerves a little bit, forget some of my fears, and to just talk. To talk about my idea, to convey a message that I have. And I think that's so huge. To think that we've all grown so much, especially for me. I never really expected to grow as I did. Although I see a lot of growth for myself, I do know that I still have fears, which is the second question. Although I still have fears, my main fear that I still hold dearly to myself is the fact that I speak way too fast sometimes, and I need to catch myself when I do that. I know that I have a speech disorder where my brain is going so fast that my mouth can't keep up, and it's just one big word. But other than just making sure I'm on the right track when I'm talking, I feel that my other fears I had, which is like blanking, not being able to recover, and losing my voice, are less of an issue. I've learned techniques how to just recover from those. I know that if I blank, just take a second, think, collect my thoughts, and just move forward. I know that everyone makes mistakes, even the best speakers make small mistakes, and knowing that takes some of the pressure off, knowing that not everyone is perfect and that we all make mistakes really helped me move on with this. The third question is how my anxiety has changed over the semester. And I definitely feel like my anxiety's changed. I feel that at the beginning of the semester, I was very anxious. My heart raced a lot more. I was definitely, fidgety and probably sweating a little bit. So I know now that when I get up in front of a group, my heart rate's going to race a little bit. I'm going to be a little nervous. But I'm just going to get up there and do my thing. I know that when I just talk and when I get into what I have to say, that my anxieties do lift. And I'm just comfortable talking. I think that was very evident in my persuasive speech, where I was so worried about not making time. The 6 minutes minimum, I wasn't going to make it. And when I just started talking and just got into it, I had to talk to someone I was passionate about, and I just kept going and going. And next thing you know, I pretty much made it to max time, which I thought was great because I was so proud of myself that I was able to talk for that amount of time that I did. The fourth question is if I still believe that I'm still a novice. A novice is what I considered myself at the beginning of the semester, and I definitely consider myself a novice still. I have so much to learn, so much growth to have done to myself, so much experience to have, that I am still going to grow, and I probably will never reach expert. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to experience a different aspect of speech, whether it's on a relationship basis with someone, personal, or on a professional basis. There's always room for improvement, and I feel like even though we do so many speeches, that they're all a learning process, and that we're going to constantly learn from what we do. And I think that for me, I may never reach that aspect, but through this class, I definitely have made steps to be becoming a better speaker. And the fifth question is, how does my level of public speaking How do I value that? And I value it the same, although maybe a little more. I still feel like public speaking and speaking in general communication is so essential and vital to life that we all need to work on it, harness that technique, that skill set, to make sure that we're speaking clearly on a professional and personal basis. I mean, we all live in a society, a very global, multifaceted, and multi-planar society that, we have so much to learn, so many people to communicate with, and so many different aspects of that communication. And that we have to be able to communicate effectively. And I feel like in some respects that we have digressed in that sense because we focus so much on technology, and that's so sad. And that could also be one of the reasons why public speaking is one of the scariest fears that we have. So I want to conclude with how here I am doing my final speech in comparison to my very first speech and how much I've actually grown from this experience. I never knew how many people would have such an impact on my speech and my learning capacity, especially since, a lot of the college classes are just, get this information in, and you never really have to apply it. And I feel like the information we got here was definitely something we have to apply to learn properly. And I want to finish the speech off with this quote by Harry Ward Beecher, and he said, "We should not judge people by the peak of their excellence, but by the distance they traveled from the point where they started." And I think that's great for this class because even though we start at some point, we have grown in some aspect. We have learned from each other and become better speakers and better people. Thank you so much. Bye.